All right, guys, here we are. We are in the last section of Chapter 7, Exponential Growth and Decay. Now, I took this model from your book. If you go to Section 7.7, this is about the second page in. I forget what page number it is. It tells us that the general function is y equals a times b to the x, where a is greater than 0 and b is greater than 1. And b is called the growth factor. And it says this is 1 plus the percentage rate of change. And you'll see how that works out in just a minute. So in general, the equation y equals a times b to the x. A is your initial amount. B is your growth factor. And there's also something called a decay factor. And it is a decay factor if your b value is less than 1. But b always has to be positive, so it's greater than 0 but less than 1. So you'll see there's a separate chart for that, but it's the same equation. The only thing is the number for b is different. Okay, so we're going to look at this example down below. It says, since 2005, the amount of money spent at restaurants in the United States has increased about 7% each year. In 2005, about $360 billion was spent at restaurants. If this trend continues, about how much will be spent in 2015? Okay, so I'm going to use my equation, my exponential growth and decay, because it's increasing by a percentage, so that starts to tell you that we're talking about exponential. So y equals the initial amount. Well, how much was initially spent at restaurants? $360 billion, and I'm not going to write the word billion. That'll just go in as part of our answer. So 360 times B, our growth factor. So what is it increasing by? This percentage of 7. But remember, you have to add 1 to it. So 1 plus 0.07 would give us 1.07. Oops, 7. And then my exponent is like the change, and so we're changing from 2005 to 2015, so our change is an exponent of 10. Subtract 2015 minus 2005. Alright, so now I'm just going to use a calculator and I'm going to do the equation in order to get our answer. So I'm just going to type in my calculator 1.07 to the 10th, which that calculator doesn't have an exponent. Hang on. And you will get something like 1.967. And then you're going to multiply that by 360 billion. And you will get y equals $708 billion. Okay, so I will expect that in 2015, Americans will spend about $708 billion. Okay, part B is something called compound interest. Here is the formula for compound interest. A equals P times 1 plus R over N to the NT power. What I'd like you to do is I want you to turn to page 1096 in your book, and you can just maybe write that off to the side. 1096. Oh, it's on your paper, duh. And tell me what all of those variables mean. Once you get all of those filled out, then you'll be able to do example number 2. All right, example 2. Suppose that when your friend was born, their parents deposited $2,000 in an account paying 7.5% compounded quarterly. What will the account balance be in 18 years? Okay, so I need my formula so that we can look at it. So A is the balance, and that's going to be what we're finding. And then I have P, which is the principal or the initial amount. So their parents put in $2,000. Then the 1 is a constant, it's always 1, plus R, which is the annual rate that that interest, and you got to move the decimal over 2 places, so 0.045 over n. So how many times is it compounded? It says quarterly, so that means 4 times a year, so n is going to be 4. And then you have another n at the top, so that'll be another 4. And then the years is 18, so it'll be 4 times 18. Okay, so I'm going to simplify parts of this just to get me started. So first I'm probably going to do 4 times 18. So A equals 2,000 times, and I probably will also go ahead and do the 0.045 divided by 4. So it's going to be 1.01125. And because it's a reasonable decimal, I'm going to write down all the decimal points. And then I'll go ahead and figure out 4 times 18 is 72. Okay, so now I'm going to order of operations. I'm going to do the exponent part first. So I have 1.01125 to the 72nd power. And I'm going to multiply that by 2,000. And so when this friend is 18, you will get a total, an account balance of $4,475. That's a 5. And 53 cents. So that would be a pretty good deal for not having to really do anything, double your money. Okay, what I want you to do is I want you to use this note sheet, and I want you to do the lesson check quiz, which is in your book. If you turn to page 1100, you'll see where it is. There's like 5 questions, and they're multiple choice, and you just tap on them, and then at the end it's going to show you your score. I want to see that score. Okay, and then you're going to go ahead and start on your assignment and see your calendar. Now, if you finish up with this unit and you still have a couple of days before the test, you can either go back and review materials. Maybe there's a section that you know you didn't do as well on. If you wanted to redo an assignment for additional points, you could do that. And then if everything is done, completed, turned in, you can get me to okay a piece of paper for you. And if you have something else to work on, you can work on another assignment, even if it's for another class.